Hello everyone, and welcome back to Liftoff. There's always something about countries and dominating territories. This is exactly what led to the colonization of other countries because other countries wanted to be superior. Even though we are past the era of colonization, the race to be the most superior country is still there. The only difference is that, instead of wanting to control other countries, governments are now fighting to control the economy and the world markets. However, one country in particular is going the extra mile and wants to control a celestial body. As we all know, space exploration has been getting deeper and deeper, with agencies like NASA launching lots of satellites to explore the vastness of space. The most recent technology launched into space was the James Webb Space Telescope, and by now we have all seen what it can do. However, it is said that China wants to take control of the moon so that no other country will go there without their permission. But even with these rumors, NASA has already confirmed this is nearly impossible. But how can this be? Before we continue, make sure you smash that like button as hard as you can and to subscribe to our channel for nothing but the latest news on Elon Musk, SpaceX, Tesla, science, space, technology, and so much more. And with that, let's find out more about China's claims of taking control of the moon. Not so long ago, NASA Administrator Bill Nelson expressed concerns over China's aims in space. To be more specific, China is said to be working towards claiming ownership of the moon, which will stop other countries from exploring it. This is something that has been unheard of ever since space exploration began. During an interview with the German newspaper, Nelson cautioned, saying, "We must be very concerned that China is landing on the moon and saying, 'It's ours now, and you stay out.'" However, China has already denied all these claims, saying that they're all lies. This spat between NASA's administrator and Chinese government officials has come out at the worst time possible. This is because both nations have been working on missions to land on the moon. However, in all this, China has not really been shy about its lunar aspirations. Back in 2019, China became the very first country to land a spacecraft on the far side of the moon. And that same year, China and Russia announced that they had come together to reach the moon's south pole. Both countries aim to do this by 2026. It has been noted that some Chinese officials and government documents have detailed some of China's intentions for the moon. This includes building a permanent crewed international lunar station by 2027. There is a very big difference between China and any other state deciding to set up a lunar base and proceeding it to take over the moon. It's believed that neither China nor any other nation will likely take over the moon soon. This is because, apart from it being illegal, it is also technologically daunting. This is mostly because of the cost of doing something like this would be very high, and the possible benefits would be hard to predict. As it turns out, China cannot take over the moon as planned because of international space law. In 1967, 134 countries, including China, signed and adopted the Outer Space Treaty. This treaty states that outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies, is not subject to any national appropriation by claim of sovereignty, by means of use or occupation, or by any other means. Legal scholars have been debating the definition of appropriation for several years. However, suppose the treaty was to be interpreted in that case. It indicates that no country can take possession of the moon and declare it an extension of its national aspirations and prerogatives. Therefore, if China tried to go ahead with this, it would risk international condemnation and a potential international retaliatory response. It is clear that, according to the treaty, no country can go ahead and claim ownership of the moon. However, according to Article 1 of the Outer Space Treaty, any state has the right to explore and use outer space and celestial bodies. China is not the only state that is planning to visit the south pole of the moon in the near future. The US also has a mission to visit the moon soon. The Artemis Accords, which are led by the US, is a group of 20 countries that have come together to plan the return of humans to the moon. They mainly aim to achieve this by 2025, which is not that far off from now. They plan to establish a research station on the lunar surface, along with a supporting base station in orbit known as the Gateway. All this is with a planned launch that is set to take place in November 2024. Even though the Outer Space Treaty clearly indicates that no country can legally claim sovereignty over the moon, There is a high possibility that China, or any other country, would go ahead and attempt to establish de facto control over the strategically important areas. They may aim to do this through a strategy that is known as salami slicing. With this strategy, they may take small, incremental steps to achieve a big change. When done individually, those steps do not guarantee a strong response. But with a cumulative effect, it all adds up to significant developments and increased control. China has been a professional when it comes to using this strategy, mainly because they have been employing it in the South and East China Seas. But even with that, such a strategy will take time and can be addressed. If you consider the size of the moon, it would almost be impossible to control it. The moon has a surface area of about 14.6 million square miles, which is about 30 million square kilometers. This is almost 5 times the total area of Australia. Because the moon is so big, any control over it would be short-term and limited. It is most likely that China would attempt to take control of some of the specific lunar areas that are strategically valuable. This may include lunar craters that have a higher concentration of water ice. Obtaining ice on the moon is very important because it will provide water for humans there without having to ship it from Earth. In addition, ice can also serve as a vital source of oxygen and hydrogen, which can also be used as rocket fuel. Water ice is important for ensuring that any mission to the moon or beyond will last and that people will be able to live there. For a country to secure and enforce control of any strategic lunar areas, it would need substantial financial investment and long-term efforts to make it happen. If any country were to do this, everyone would definitely notice it. Now that we know that controlling the moon is close to impossible, can China really go through with it? Do they have the resources and the capabilities to make it happen? Over the past few years, China has been investing heavily in space exploration. In 2021 alone, the country was at the top when it came to orbital launches, with a total of 55 launches. This was compared to the US 51 orbital launches in the same year. Currently, the Starnet space company, owned by the state of China, is already planning a mega constellation of about 12,992 satellites. Not only that, but the country is almost done with the construction of the Tiangong space station. Going to the moon is not an easy task, just as it is very expensive. But taking over the moon is something else entirely, and it can cost up to 5 times more than landing on the moon. China's space budget, which was said to be about $13 billion in 2020, is only about half of that of NASA's. Compared to the previous years, the US and China increased their space budgets in 2020 by 5.6% and 17.1% respectively. But no matter how much money they spend on space travel, China does not seem to invest the money that is actually required to make the expensive, daring, and uncertain mission of taking over the moon. If China assumes control over some part of the moon, it would be a very risky, expensive, and extremely provocative action. By doing this, the country would risk further tarnishing its international image by breaking international law. It may also invite retaliation, which would not be good for it. Feel free to let us know whether you think China could really take over the moon in the comment section below. Also, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to our channel for nothing but the latest news on Elon Musk, SpaceX, Tesla, science, space, technology, and so much more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.